Welcome to Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church. Our service this morning is called Let Christmas Come. So, good morning. That was really good, but one more time just for fun. Good morning. That's great, thank you. Well, I am the Reverend Dr. Suzanne Trilliator, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns are she and hers, and I am happy to see such a lovely crowd here this morning on this strangely warm day in December. We are a church of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands, and all who share our values are welcome here among us. And thank you so much for that lovely prelude. That really gets me in the spirit of the season. It's an interesting song. It has, it's jolly and happy, but it's also kind of sad and mellow, too. It kind of, all the feelings of the season. Thanks, Tom. So, the holiday season is among us. Who feels like they're in the spirit? All right, and who feels like not yet, really? Okay, well, today's service is for all of you. One thing that might help you get into the spirit is a couple of stupid jokes. Here we go. Why is it getting harder and harder to buy Advent calendars? Because their days are numbered. Really bad, isn't it? It's terrible. Okay, let's see if this one's worse. How do you know when Santa is around? Because you can always feel his presence. Okay, which one's worse? I don't know, here we go, the first one. All right, back to business. Got a few reminders for you, some church business. Last month, our church voted to affirm 2 new social justice ministry teams, Climate Action and Anti-Racism, and we got some fingers going, yay for them. And they will meet officially for the first time this coming week as sanctioned social justice teams of the church, and both meetings are open, so if you're interested in either of those things, please come on board. The details are in your midweek update. Also in the midweek update is your notice for the last session of our Spirituality and Dying series, which is going to happen on Wednesday. Everyone's welcome there, whether you've been to that before or not. And if you read the newsletter, you also know that I'm inviting you on a trip. The first week in April, I'm going down to Alabama with Reggie Harris's group, the Living Legacy Project. And they take people to Selma and Montgomery and Birmingham. We're going to see all 3 of those things. And if anybody wants to come on the trip with me, the link is in your newsletter. Also in the newsletter is a box for December worship services so that you can mark your calendars and make sure you don't miss any. I just want to mention that next Sunday, December 17th, is another brunch church, another in our experiment in family-centered worship and fun worship that's focused on connecting with each other. We're going to have a full brunch, and we're going to talk a little bit next week about my plan for sabbatical, so be there if you can. Then on Thursday, December 21st, we're doing something entirely new. Katie and I and Tom are collaborating on a winter solstice service. It's going to be Thursday the 21st on the actual night of solstice, and we're going to tell stories and share music and light candles. That starts at 6:30. And we're going to end with cider and donuts if you need a bribe to show up. Then on Sunday, the 24th, there will be no morning service, even though it's a Sunday. We'll have 2 Christmas Eve services that day at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. We're going to have a wonderful guest vocalist and a guest harpist, beautiful music. So please invite your family and friends and neighbors because we have 2 services, we've got space. So bring people along. What else? Oh, as you may have heard, I mentioned, I'm going on sabbatical for January, February, and March. We'll be talking more about that next Sunday and sharing the plans, but all you really need to know is don't worry. We have hired a wonderful person to kind of hold down the fort, along with our many wonderful volunteers, holding down the fort together for those 3 months. So filling in for me will be our half-time sabbatical minister, the Reverend Susan Suchocki Brown. Yay! Yay! And we wanted you to get to know her a little bit so you could feel comfortable and confident, and so we invited her a little bit early today to do preaching, so she will be leading the service in just a minute. She's really looking forward to meeting all of you. She's already jumped in here. She was here all day Friday. She's already met 4 committees, so she loves congregational life, and she's perfect for us. Once you do meet her, I'm betting that you will agree with Jim Duncan, who said, Reverend Susan could do this job in her sleep. and I think that's true. So today's service is all about two things. One, getting to know Reverend Susan, and two, getting ready for the holidays. Reverend Susan is going to share her wisdom about how you can get into the spirit and really enjoy yourself this Christmas season. So before we do all of that, though, we have a testimonial this morning. That's when a member of the congregation comes forward and talks a little bit about why church is really important to them. So giving a testimonial this morning is longtime member, I mean very longtime member, John Pastel. John, please come to the lectern.
So Reverend Susan is going to learn it's dangerous to give me a microphone. All right. So I was asked to do this and not given a lot of prompts, but so I was trying to figure it out, and they said, well, why do you go to MUUC? So I thought about it for a while, and I realized it's changed over the years. Initially, my parents made me, all right? I had to come down, go to church. RE happened before services in a separate building that was over there, and we would have our various meetings and then come in and share part of the service. My parents would make me come even when they couldn't, so I would walk down the hill to go to church. Both ways, 6 feet snowdrifts, all right? All right. But I enjoyed RE, and I thought it was fun, but it was high school, and I didn't have to go anymore. But then there was this thing called LRY, Liberal Religious Youth. And it was the youth of the church get together, and we were ostensibly supposed to be doing spiritual things, but really we were planning the paper drive and the ski trip. And that was fun. We worked together with ourselves. We learned an awful lot. We worked with adults, and it was wonderful. I met my wife in LRY. All right. So then we move away, but eventually we decide to get married, and where do we come? We come back here. We come to the church. And the church members were wonderful to us. They helped in so many ways. Not that money matters, but it was one of the cheapest weddings because everybody pitched in and helped. It was great. And we had the reception in Parish Hall. You could hit 104 people in there if you're really comfortable. All right. So then we move away again, but we come back and we have children now. And we need some place to go for the kids, and we come here so that they have to go. I, as the parent, make them go to church, all right? And yet they seem to enjoy it as well, and they had a good time. Randall became head of RE and led that for quite a few years, and I skated around the edges. But then she managed to get me involved in a few things. The youth group did those mission trips, and those were transformative for me. They were wonderful experiences working with the kids, working with the locals and the other adults who all worked on this. It was a year-long project each time, and it was for me, it was just amazing. I enjoyed the experience, the learning, and watching the kids grow. Then, let's see, things move on. So engagement continues, engagement grows, because at some point somebody says, hey, why don't you be the treasurer? And so I do that. And in the process, I learn more about how the whole thing works. All the people who contribute to it, all the ways that everybody is happening. Before it was just sort of happening to me, and then I began to be able to be part of making it happen. And that made things change. All the time, I was going to have a chart, but you know, I'm working off of these right now. But you know, our investment in the church grew both personally and financially. The more we did, the more we grew, the more we joined committees, the more we joined with other people doing things. Our contributions increased because we saw what it was doing, and we saw how necessary it was. So now, my kids are gone. Not gone. My kids no longer come here. All right, so what keeps me here? Well, the choir keeps me here. I love the choir. Reverend Suzanne, I love that. Doing things with a men's group and with all of you, it gives me an opportunity to talk about things I don't talk about anywhere else. It gives me a way to contribute not only to here, but to Melrose, to Massachusetts, to the US. And I love it. Star Island. I wouldn't have found Star Island without the church. And Star Island, when we're on Star Island, we talk about trying to find a community like that back home, except I don't have to because I have that community. And you're all here and you're all part of it. One last anecdote. While we were on Star Island, Robert Putman, who wrote Bowling Alone and a few other things, polled all of us and he wanted to know if we all felt we were religious. And of course, we're all good UUs, and we go, oh, no, we're not religious. No, and stuff. He goes, how many of you go to church once a year? And we all raise our hands. He goes, how many of you go spend a week on a religious retreat on an island? He goes, you're religious. So we are all religious, despite not wanting to call ourselves that. So going forward, up till now, we've been giving for the things we've been getting back, for the ways those happen. And we're going to continue to do that. But we're realizing now that we also need to continue to give for the next generation, for the next program. Everybody should have the life of church the way we've had the life of a church. And it's been amazing for us, and we're going to continue to do that because you guys are great. So, thank you.
Thank you, John. Well, I got so excited to tell you stupid jokes that I left out my introduction of Reverend Susan. I got a whole paragraph here so that, let me just give you the salient facts, okay? Reverend Susan Suchocki Brown led the church in Leominster for almost 25 years. She retired from there in 2016, but then when the pandemic hit, she felt called back into parish ministry to help support our big church in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. She was their interim minister for 3 years. So she has experience of pandemic ministry. She's also a fire department chaplain, continues to do that, and a member of the UU Trauma Response Ministry team, and they go visit congregations who are in crisis and support them. She's got a lot of experience. She loves congregational life, and she's jumping in here with both feet, so you guys are in safe hands. And thank you, John, for that great testimonial. I also want to thank our other helpers today, our usher, Corey Mann, our greeter, Wendy, our coffee host, Jane and Chuck Foley. Thank you for all you do. And now it's time to welcome each other into worship. If you would, turn around, hug, shake hands, wave, say good morning. Hi, folks on Zoom. Hey, Mary Beth. Hi, Bob and Phyllis. Hi, Joyce. Good to see you. Hi, James. Hi, Amy. It's good to see everybody this morning. Thanks for being here. So now it is time to turn, oh wait, one more thing, let's see. No, it's time to turn it over to Reverend Susan and the call to worship. Time to get into worship mode.
These are words that I wrote. As we gather in the spirit of this holiday time, let the spirit of these holy times sing in your heart. Let Christmas come, let Hanukkah come, let Kwanzaa come, let the new year begin. Let the winter solstice turn our dark nights into brightening days again. Let this worship service bring you delight and enjoyment. Let the words of song and the chorus of noise fill your heart with joy and love. May we find escape from the weary world for a little while, and may the next few weeks be filled with great pleasures, overflowing with friends and family, food, and fun. Glory be to our holy community as we have gathered together. It is my pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. And now we light the symbol of our faith, the flaming chalice. I call forward today's chalice lighter, Janice Bissix, who's a member of our board. Thanks, Janice.
I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join me in the words of our covenant, which you can see on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God.
Janice, if everybody, go ahead, Susan.
And if you would remain standing as able and willing and join in our opening hymn, Let Christmas Come, number 224 in the gray hymnal.
You may be seated. And now it's time for our story.
So this is a story about a family, J.R.R. Tolkien's family, who wrote and received letters to and from Father Christmas each year beginning in 1920, when the oldest child, John, was 3 years old. These letters continued until 1940 through the childhoods of 3 other children, Michael, Christopher, and Priscilla. For those of you who don't know his name, he wrote all the Lord of the Rings stories and many other fun and imaginative books. Who here has ever written a letter to Father Christmas at the North Pole? Or a letter to Santa? He's also known as Santa. Yeah? A little bird tells me that Reverend Susan used to, and in that letter there were often requests for specific gifts. But she was happy with whatever gifts she got. But she did have some special things she wished for. I used to write to him too, with a small wish list that always ended with, and a couple of surprises. The Tolkien kids did the same. How about you? Do you ask for specific gifts, or just wait to be surprised? Father Christmas would write back when he had a few free moments in the hectic month of December. His letters were full of stories of the antics that Polar Bear, his right-hand helper, and the elves, the snow babies, Grandfather Yule, and Polar Bear's 2 nephews got into. And they were all published in a book, Letters to Father Christmas. So this is one story of the adventures and misadventures in the life of Father Christmas that he shared with the Tolkien family. Top of the world, North Pole, Christmas 1930. Not finished until Christmas Eve, 24th December. My dears, I have enjoyed all your letters. I am dreadfully sorry there has been no time to answer them. And even now, I have not time to finish my picture for you properly, or to send you a full, long letter like I meant to. I hope you will like your stockings this year. I tried to find what you asked for, but the stores have been in rather a muddle. You see, the polar bear has been ill. He had whooping cough, first of all. I could not let him help with the packing and sorting, which begins in November, because it would be simply awful if any of my children caught polar whooping cough and barked like bears on Boxing Day. So I had to do everything myself in the preparations. Of course, Polar Bear has done his best. He cleaned up and mended my sleigh and looked after the reindeer while I was busy. That is how the really bad accident happened. Early this month, we had a most awful snowstorm, nearly 6 feet of snow, followed by an awful fog. The poor polar bear went out to the reindeer stables and got lost and nearly buried. I did not miss him or go look for him for a long while. His chest had not got well from whooping cough, so this made him frightfully ill, and he was in bed until 3 days ago. Everything has gone wrong, and there has been no one to look after my messengers properly. Aren't you glad the polar bear is better? We had a party of snowboys, sons of the snowmen, which are the only sort of people that live near, not, of course, men made of snow. Though my gardener, who is the oldest of all the snowmen, sometimes draws a picture of a made snowman instead of writing his name, and polar cubs, the polar bear's nephews, on Saturday as soon as he felt well enough. He didn't eat much tea, but when the big cracker went off after, he threw away his mug and leapt in the air and has been well ever since. The top picture shows Polar Bear telling a story after all the things had been cleared away. The little pictures show me finding Polar Bear in the snow and Polar Bear sitting with his feet in hot mustard and water to stop him shivering. It didn't, and he sneezed so terribly, he blew 5 candles out. Still, he is all right now. I know because he has been at his tricks again, quarreling with the snowman, my gardener, and pushing him through the roof of his snow house and packing lumps of ice instead of presents in naughty children's parcels. That might be a good idea, only he never told me, and some of them, with ice, were put in warm storerooms and melted all over good children's presents. Well, my dears, there's lots more I should like to say about my green brother and my father, old grandfather Yule, and why we were both called Nicholas after the saint, whose day is December 6th, who used to give secret presents, sometimes throwing purses of money through the window. But I must hurry away. I am late already, and I am afraid you may not get this in time. Kisses to you all, Father Christmas. P.S. Chris has no need to be frightened of me. All right, thank you all for your good listening. Children, we may now leave for RE.
Every Sunday at the center of our service, we take time for quiet and reflection. So let's begin that time together by settling into our seats, feeling our feet on the floor, and breathing deeply. In our meditation time, first we'll join together in our centering song, then we sit for a few minutes of shared quiet, then we speak to one another of our joys and sorrows, and then Reverend Susan will lead us in a prayer. For our centering song today and throughout the month of December, when our theme is mystery, our centering song is Where Do We Come From?, which is number 1003 in the Teal hymnal. But lyrics will appear here on the screen, so you needn't bother. Please remain seated, join in as you like, and let the song gently guide you into our time of shared quiet. It's our tradition every Sunday to share with one another our joys and sorrows, the personal milestones of our lives. This sharing helps us to get to know one another better, to reach out to one another in times of crisis and need, and also it knits us together as an ever stronger community. So I invite anyone here who has a sorrow to share to come forward, speak from the microphone so everyone can hear you and see you. I invite folks on Zoom to go ahead and type a sorrow into the chat box, and I will read them aloud. So Corey, yes, please light one candle to symbolize all of the joys that were shared here this morning and the other joys that remain in our hearts. May the candle be a beacon of our gratitude. May it remind us always of all the many blessings in our lives.
Let us be in an attitude of prayer and reflection. O mystery, source of life, Spirit that gives us strength to go on when sorrows overwhelm and that delight our heart when joys happen, we ask your presence among us and with us today. And may all who have pain know that they are not alone. There is always someone here that will help you, will listen to you, will be a person to share your sorrows and challenges with. And also, we learn in Blessed Community that sharing our joys makes a place sing with delight, makes our hearts full of wonder and our minds willing to explore and be open to new ideas. Today, we have gathered in this sacred and holy place, bringing who we are, every bit of who we are, to this place, and know that you are welcome, know that you are wanted to be here, you, who you are in all your fullness. May you be blessed. May we be blessed by this time together. Amen. May it be so.
And now is the time for our offertory. Our church is a self-supporting organization funded by your generous annual pledge. You may also contribute to our weekly collection plate, which we split every month with a deserving cause. Folks on Zoom can donate either way using the orange button at the top right corner of our homepage at melroseuu.org. For the month of December, this church will be giving half our collection plate to the Melrose Emergency Fund. The fund was established in 1996 after 25 families were displaced by 2 fires. Since that time, the fund has accepted and dispersed hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations to Melrose families, with a focus on basic needs such as food, rent, and utilities. For our anthem today, we're going to sing that most famous Ukrainian carol called Shedrik. I kid you not. That was the original title of the Carol of the Bells. It was written originally by Mykola Leontovich, and when the Ukrainian National Choir was touring in the United States in 1919, a fellow named Peter J. Wilhowsky heard it and thought that it reminded him of handbells that he heard at his church. And because Wilhowsky was an arranger and conductor at the NBC Symphony Orchestra in the 20s and the 30s, it's really gained its international fame as the Carol of the Bells.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong. One seemed to hear words of good cheer from everywhere filling the air. Oh, how they come praising the sun, high and telling the tale, filling the ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Oh, how they sang on with Anna, their joyful tone to every Lord. Ding dong, ding dong. Thank you for the gift of music. This reading is by the Reverend Jim Wickman. It's called The Magic of Christmas. What is the special magic of Christmas? Well, of all of our holidays, religious and secular, Christmas evokes the most universal feelings of goodwill, of humanity, of humility. The decorations in our houses and around the town are part of Christmas, but they're not the magic of Christmas. The hustle and bustle on the streets, the last-minute search for gifts, these too are a part of Christmas, but it's not its magic. Songs and stories, old and new, are part of Christmas, and gathering together to share and teach the traditions of Christmas is part of Christmas, but not its magic. All of these we remember about Christmas past. All of these we can see in Christmas present. All of these we look forward to in Christmas yet to come. But where shall we find the magic that makes Christmas so special? So much more than just the sight and sounds and smells of Christmas. Can you be aware of the fidgeting, the uptightness of the kids in the past few weeks and not see some magic in Christmas? And peeking and poking of packages, can you lecture them or your spouses about that without knowing that you're tampering with some of the magic? And watching the shine of children's eyes as they take part in the traditions of Christmas we teach them, can we see that without a glistening in our eyes and the sureness that you're seeing the magic of Christmas right there, the magic of Christmas that you're seeing? So I am Reverend Susan Suchocki Brown, she, hers. It's delightful to be with you. I want to get to know you a little bit better. I was here on Friday and met a great number of you, and that was a pleasure. And I'll be here while Reverend Suzanne has a well-deserved sabbatical, and I'm in charge of her list when she comes back. So anything you want her to do, you give it to me, because I'm keeping a list, okay? But we want her to go away and come back filled with energy. How could she be any more energetic? But anyways, I wanted to meet you and talk with you a little bit, get to know you a little bit, see your space, and be with you. But mostly I want to talk about the holiday of Christmas, which is right before us. It is a holiday ripe with the possibility of bringing great joy or for the arrival of gloom. Yeah, those holidays are an emotional roller coaster and all the feelings it brings. You know, not everyone will be having a Rudolph the reindeer moments of shining glee. And yet I remember that Rudolph had to endure a whole lot of trials and tribulations before he was finally able to put his gifts and his talents to use. Do you remember that when Rudolph was finally able to help, he did so full of joy and without ill feeling for all of the other reindeers who treated him so badly? Because in the end, they all needed one another to accomplish their mission. So go ahead, let us sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I know you want to. It's now planted as an earworm. Now you have to be in the spirit. You have to. Because you know what? The holiday season is beginning in earnest with full countdown mentality. How many days to Christmas? And anticipation and anxiety, anguish, but a lot of glee and a lot of fun. Did you know that the tradition of gathering on Christmas Eve is said to have begun with our religious forebears, the Moravian Brethren? This is an ancient Czechoslovakian group near the Transylvania border, and they gathered to hold candlelight services at midnight on Christmas Eve. And the worshipers entered the darkened churches to light their small candles from a large candle at the front of the altar. And the candle was a symbol of that eternal light that lighteth every person that cometh into the world. And they read Bible passages, they sang carols, concluding with the carol, Gloria in Excelsis Deo, which was my mother's all-time favorite. And when they returned home, they carried that lighted candle with them to place in their window so that all who passed by their home might know that a special Christmas blessing had come upon all of creation. And so we begin now, and we have gathered for some time-honored ceremonies and services, a time of carols, of readings, of Christmas music, Christmas trees, tinsel, and I understand Christmas cookies await us. For some of us, it's a continuation of generations of gathering as Unitarian Universalists, as I heard in our testimony this morning. We bring our children, we bring our parents, drop us off down the street so they can't be seen just dropping us off, right? And for some of us, it's a continuation of another faith tradition. For me, it's a continuation of that Unitarian and Unitarian Universalist tradition which I was born into. It was the one time, except those sad occasions of memorial services or joy-filled experiences of weddings or child dedications, when my family, every Sunday during the month of December, would go to the church, and they always sat in the same pew. And we would always gather for Christmas services and for Christmas Eve. Now, I especially remember how on Christmas Eve, this was the Unitarian Universalist Church in Gardner, Massachusetts, where I grew up, my childhood minister, Reverend Neil Backer, would always tell some ridiculous story. I remember him telling a story about Hanuman, the monkey. Now, what Hanuman, the monkey, who's a Hindu god, has to do with Christmas, I could never quite figure out, but I remember that story. I remember that story. Because he would attempt to engage us in that service. And he would read from the Bible, something he rarely did any other time of the year. And as a young child, I would be bored out of my mind. I'd be crawling across the pews, up and down. I'd be crawling on my father's lap under the, you pulling on my brother's or sister's ears, really inappropriate behavior for church, right? Yeah. But then Reverend Backer began to sing the Gloria. It was then that I would sit as quiet as a mouse, as if in a trance, listening to his deep and melodious voice carrying, for me, that deeply haunting carol to its glorious conclusion. It was then that I didn't care that his Christmas story was geared for when I was much younger, or would have been better told at some other time during maybe religious education classes. It was then that I didn't care about a Bible story about a crowded inn, a messy manger, an out-of-wedlock mother, and shepherds who should never, ever have been out on a cold, messy night, and magi with a star. I didn't even care about then because I was immersed in the experience of being in that pew, connected. It was then that I knew Christmas had come again, and affirming the truth of this quote, even sensible people touched by some heavenly spirit do things divinely foolish. Even sensible people touched by some heavenly spirit do things divinely foolish. Now, the divinely foolish message of Christmas is that this one child, who we respected but did not consider our Savior, should be honored by us, suddenly made sense. That all children born to all families, no matter the season, no matter the family configuration, should be honored. For each birth is a reminder of the eternal light that lighteth every person that comes into the world. And the services confirm that all creation should stop for a few moments to reflect on the glorious message of peace, joy, and hope. A message that begs to be lived and told again and again and again at this time of year. And those services held precious memories and hope, which are two of the themes that continually emerge for me as I think about Christmas time. Age and childhood meet and mingle in glee, memory blending with hope, are words from an old-time reading. And as I began to reflect on those words, I was transported back to that UU church that I grew up in, and back to the memories of Christmas seasons past. Our Moravian brethren modeled the way for us to take memory and hope into our homes and into our communities. They did this by lighting their candles and carrying that light back into their homes, a symbol of blessing. And that is a tradition worth passing down.
Do you want to go
to
now to
generations.
Cambridge?
And the carols we sing are echoes of the years of our lives, memories of other scenes and other times, of other people, of ourselves in other guises. And we will sing that same songs through the childlike nature which abides in us, especially at this time of year. We sing those songs to drown out hurt and to amplify love, wrote a Unitarian Universalist, Reverend Edward Frost. So whether it be through the bygone years of past or whether it be with hope for the future, we gather again at this time of the year. And we bring who we are with us to the sacred and holy time and place. And no matter whether we sing to drown out hurt or to amplify love, we gather engaging in the age-old traditions of remembrance, of hope, of love, of beauty, of celebration. And so, it's time to get ready for the holidays and revisit some of those traditions which have meaning or once gave meaning and bring them out of hiding. Sing along to carols and holiday songs. Sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer as you're leaving here today. Celebrate with friends and build a family. Build a family that is unique and special and full of love, and make it a web of care and compassion that extends outside of what you normally think of as your family. Respect the view of others, even if they are totally foreign to you, and do research on some of those other traditions. That's fun to do. This Wednesday, I'm going to Mount Wachusett Community College, a local college, to talk about the holiday traditions that happen this time of year. Do you know there are 14 different holidays between now, November 20th, and January 24th? So when somebody says happy holiday to you, thank them, because they don't know what you believe in. And their greeting to you as happy holidays is a sign of respect for your various beliefs. So happy holidays to you. And use the time of waiting and anticipation to explore what and how to make this world more beautiful, more precious, and most of all, take care of your spirit. Take care of yourself. Take time to center and to heal, to surround yourself with loved ones, and enjoy beautiful music, wonderful food, and decorations. And keep coming to this beautiful place, this sanctuary, this safe and wonderful place. When outside is so hectic and so scary, remember you have a holy home here. And when you leave, take the light of the season with you, glorify all of creation, and let that light serve as a blessing to all of the world. May it be so. And we have a final hymn.
Yeah, if you would please rise in body or in spirit and join in our closing hymn. It's number 118 in the gray hymnal, but you know it as This Little Light of Mine. The lyrics will be on the screen.
Shine.
Thanks. If you would please remain standing, and we'll join together in the chalice extinguishing words, which Bill will put up. There we go. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you. Thank you. Our worship has ended. Thanks so much for joining us. After a quick postlude from Tom, please everyone join us for refreshments in Parish Hall, which is the next room over. Thanks to the folks on Zoom for joining us too. I hope you have a great Sunday. Thanks everybody. Happy Sunday.